Welcome back to Necromunda Monday, the series in which I tackle making models for Games Workshops Necromunda that do not have official models. If you're interested in what models we've made previously in the series, check out the playlist on the channel. It has all the episodes in one place for your viewing pleasure. Now, with that being said, let's sharpen our blades, spill some paint, and regret some dice rolls, and let's get into today's episode. This week's episode will be slightly different than the normal episodes in this series because we won't only be making a Necromunda model that doesn't have an official model, but we're actually making a model in a crossover episode with friend of the channel, Dr Drybrush, as he has got a new ongoing series called Necro Noir, and as part of that, the model that we're making today may appear in that series depending on the outcome of the dice and the campaign as it goes on. So, today, we're making the Pit Trainer. For those of you that haven't checked out Dr Drybrush's video on the mechanics of his Necro Noir series, I highly recommend you go over there and take a look, as it gives a bit more explanation to what we're doing today. We will eventually come back to the Pit Trainer for a normal episode where we will make one that is more in theme with the Goliath gang, as it is a hanger-on that can normally only be hired by House Goliath. However, the one that we're making in this episode will be a more generic version of the Pit Trainer, as any gang from the Necro Noir series may end up with this hanger-on as part of their gang roster. So, when it comes to the Pit Trainer, we only have one piece of official source material, and that is the stat block. So let's do our normal and start by looking at that. Now that the stat block's on the screen, we'll start by looking at the Goliath only text, and we will be ignoring this for the premise of this model. As said before, the model we're making is a more generic version of this Pit Trainer, and we will come back at some point and make a Goliath themed one, as normally House Goliath are the only gang that can hire a Pit Trainer. The other things to look at on this are the fact that the Pit Trainer comes with a chainsword as an equipment, which is for a Goliath model something you don't normally see. The other important thing to look at when it comes to the stat block for this model is the fact that it has the skill Mentor, and it also has its own special rule. Now, I think this special rule is very fun and flavourful and gives a lot of character to the Pit Trainer as a model, as the rule, Combat Ready, allows you to give skills to other gangers within your gang for an upcoming battle, almost like the Pit Trainer is training them in martial combat. So when we make our model, we have to convey this in the actual model itself, be that with its equipment or its pose. Now, the model that we are going to attempt to make today is a more generic model, and I want to get across the fact that this is a very muscular, almost Goliath but not Goliath model that is training any gang that may seek his services for the right fee, or because they own the right territory, which ties into Dr Drybrush's Necro Noir series and how the gangers of that series may obtain the help from this hanger-on. And I want it to include all of the normal pieces of equipment that the model comes with in some capacity. Now, I think I've rambled enough. Let's get into how I've built the model. So, despite this not being the normal episode, I'm still going to talk through the parts that we have, starting with the body. So the body that I'm using is actually one from the Big Mech model from the Orc range. This is because some of the other parts I'm going to be using are a wee bit oversized. One of the things I have done with this model is trim off some bits that I don't need, that would get in the way later on, as well as all the Orky themed bits. Now, I have also got a two-handed chainsword here from the Space Marine range. This can be any chainsword if you want to do it at home. I have an arm from the Orc range. I also have another bionicle arm for the Orc range. Now, the reason I've picked this is I like the mech theme that comes with the model. This one will be holding the chainsword that we have. I also have the knives here, as well as some other little bits and bobs that I'll be sticking on to the model just to fit the theme. One of the main things I'll be doing is using the Ogryn head from the Ogryn Necromunda kit. This surprisingly fits really well onto this model, and I'll also be trying to give it a mohawk using one of the Goliath mohawks. So let's start. I'm going to start with the body because I still have some alterations to do here. The first alteration we're going to make is actually by cutting off this arm almost at the shoulder, but not quite, because we're going to actually stick on our bionicle arm that's holding the gun. Now, you can see the fact that these are both from an orc kit, they actually fit really well, so I'm going to do this now and come back. So you can see that they almost blend in seamlessly. I have had to make a small little adjustment with the arm here just to make it look almost invisible because the back of that one is flat. I'm going to be cutting off the gun just about here just to give me the actual bare hand because I will be sticking the chainsaw onto it. I'm going to snip the chainsaw just above the hand. The actual handle I don't care about, the blade itself we do, because this is the bit we're going to be sticking onto the hand of the actual orc model, so I want to keep that intact. Now, you can see here that I have done it, and you can see that it actually looks really good. It almost looks like a one-handed chainsaw for this model, which is what I was trying to go for. The actual gun handle, because it's orc themed and it's cobbled together, actually looks like it almost was the small handle for an automatic chainsaw. Now, normally I leave the head to the end, but this being a bit of a weird episode, we're actually going to work on it now, because there is actually some work that we need to do to the head. Now, it is fairly simple. We're going to take one of the Goliath kit mohawks, this can be any one of your choice, snip off the bit that actually is the back end of the head and neck from the normal Goliath, and glue it on top of the Ogren one. You can see here that it actually looks really good. It actually looks like it is a Goliath head, and almost like he is slightly chubbier in the face than a normal Goliath. Almost like he's had a little bit too much roids, a little bit too much stimulant. Now, we're going to stick this on to the body, as you would assume when it comes to building one of these models. And when you glue it on, because of the way that the body is positioned, you need to remember that these mech legs aren't actually his legs. He's actually got smaller feet further up, that you want him to look like he's posing down because he will tower over the top of most models. So the next bit that we're going to move on to, now that we pop him down, is we're going to take this arm here and we're going to actually glue this arm on after we've made a couple of alterations. I'm just going to take my knife here and I'm actually going to just snip above this hand and below the hand because we don't want anything in his hand at the moment. We want to keep the actual handle that's in it. So once I've made these snips, I'm going to come back and you can see that it nice and easily fits onto the model, almost like it belonged there. Because again, this is another bit and it fits in almost like it belongs. Now, I'm going to glue this arm on, and now that I'm back, you can see it actually seamlessly blends in, and the body is actually quite quick and easy to build. You can see that the only problem that we have left is the back of the model, where I have removed some of the mech parts that are going to get in the way. I do have a solution for this, and some of you may have spotted it when I was looking at the parts. The part that I'm actually going to use comes from the Ogren kit, the same one we got the head, and it's this backpack. Now, this backpack normally comes with two options that glue together on this side. However, we're actually going to use them both, but it's important that you take the one with the coils because we're going to cut the coils off to give us a flat back, because later on we will be sticking something to this, and if you follow along the episode you can try and spot the bit I didn't use in this episode because I changed my mind right near the end. So you can see here that it just snugly fits, and you can see me trying different bits to see how I can get it to sit, but as long as you take away the bulge on the back where normally the mech suit would connect in, this backpack actually sits in quite easily once you have it glued in, and you can see it almost looks like it's the power pack for the actual mech legs. Now, I do want it to look like this, but I will be making some edits to the top of it later on. Now, we're going to work on the next bit of this model, which, funnily enough, is actually probably the bit that you have the most freedom in, because I am going to now make some edits and glue some greebly bits to make this more believable. I'm going to use the other topper from the Ogren backpack, and I'm actually going to cut round the actual poles and round this side of the backpack to leave me with just the pylons bits that you can see here, these are then going to get glued onto the little nubs you might have been able to see earlier on the model, where I have cut off where the pipes would normally connect into the mech body arms for the big mech model. If you look at that model online, you can see the pipes and the connectors that I'm on about. But I'm simply just going to replace these with the pylons, because these are actually what are going to power our legs. You can see that the pipe in there is also slightly in the way. I will bend this out the way and glue it in. You can see me touching it now. You can see I'm pointing to both of the connectors where I'm going to have these electronic pylons. You can see once they're glued in, they actually hide a bit of the arm where I have done some of that blending, but they actually look really good. And if you put a wee bit of OSL on there when you paint this model up, now I won't be painting this model because that's not something I do in this channel. However, Dr Drybrush himself will be painting this model for use within his campaign. As I gather these bits, you can see here, I'm choosing between what knife I want to use, and I think I'm going to go with this one instead of the one with the handguard, because I will eventually decide, instead of gluing this on like the leg or the back or anything like this, I will actually end up gluing it on the hand. Now, I'm going to take these bits away and I'm going to then glue them onto the model and come back and explain, because originally, you can see here, I'm pointing at the backpack because I'm going to glue that screen, as well as this sort of hook thing that I'm going to then glue onto the model. But I actually changed my mind, and you'll see that when I come back in the now with the finished model. You can see that the model looks slightly different, and there's some extra parts that have appeared. And you can see me here pointing, so anybody that guessed that that was the part I wasn't going to use, well done. So I've actually ended up using two Votan battle line backpacks. I think it's the Hearthkin Warriors that they came from. You can see here I've also ended up gluing on this chain piece to the back, and then, as I said before, putting the knife in the hand. Originally I was going to glue this on the back and leave it dangling, but I actually preferred it in his hand. Now, the only thing we have left to do is get some close-ups. Now that the high-res photos are on screen, many of you who have watched the other episodes in this series know this is where I ramble on for a bit about things that are coming to the channel or going on in the channel in the future. For those of you who are not interested in this, I just would like to say thank you for watching the video, and please subscribe and share with anybody else that you think might be interested in the stuff that I do. For those of you who have stayed, I just want to say thank you to Dr Drybrush for the idea for this episode and allowing me to make a model that will feature in his upcoming Necro Noir series. For many of you, you won't know this, but me and Dr Drybrush are actually good friends in real life, and he is actually the person who got me into Necromunda when I first discovered the game, and also is the person who pushed me to make this channel for the Kitbashes I do, because he believed that people out there would like to see the work that I do and the thought process that goes into making some of these models. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank those people who have subscribed to the channel, who have actually taken a genuine interest in the channel, left lovely comments and your feedback, because I didn't think after 5 episodes of this series that we would even have the number of subscribers or even the number of comments on videos that I actually do. So for those of you who have taken the time to leave comments, vote in the polls, even subscribe or share with friends, it means the world to me. And with that being said, I'm going to stop rambling now and hope you like the new format to the video that I have been doing, as I'm getting more comfortable with the idea of sitting with a mic and talking to no one. And I bid you all a good day and hopefully see you all next week on Necromunda Monday.